This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Singapore supports Jamaica's bid for Commonwealth Secretary General. The Republic of Singapore has affirmed its support for Jamaica's candidature for the post of Secretary General of the Commonwealth. In a diplomatic note, Singapore formally confirmed its backing of Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith. Johnson-Smith is seeking to unseat the incumbent Baroness Patricia Scotland. The government expressed confidence that with Minister Johnson-Smith's strong credentials and leadership experience, she is well placed to lead the Commonwealth to greater heights. In a letter of appreciation addressed to the Singaporean Foreign Minister, Vivian Balakrishnan, Johnson-Smith conveyed her thanks for the expression of confidence in her lead to the Commonwealth. The Jamaican and the Singaporean foreign ministers recently had an opportunity for a bilateral engagement in New York City. They committed to continue strong bilateral and multilateral engagement on issues of interest to their two countries, including those within the family of Commonwealth nations. Additionally, Johnson-Smith was a special guest panelist at the Forum of Small States Informal High-Level Roundtable on Small States Multilateralism and International Law, chaired by Singapore. Johnson-Smith is pleased that her candidature continues to receive very strong support and has reaffirmed her commitment to lead and manage transparently and efficiently the responsibilities entrusted to the Commonwealth Secretariat, working within an effective results-based management framework. The decision regarding the appointment of Secretary General of the Commonwealth will be made at the Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting, which will be hosted by Rwanda in June. Appeal Court reduces parole eligibility for rape and murder convict. The parole eligibility has been reduced for one of the four men who in 2005 abducted, shot and dumped 3 women in a pit in Greenwich Town, St. Andrew. The Court of Appeal this week granted an application for full credit for the time spent in custody before trial for 34-year-old Chadwick Gordon. Gordon was convicted in 2010 along with 3 men for the fatal shooting of 2 of the women. He was given the death penalty because he was reported to be the mastermind behind the double murders, as he was the one who was armed with a gun. Gordon appealed, and in December 2012, the Court of Appeal set aside the death sentence and sent back his case to the Supreme Court for resentencing. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and ordered to serve 27 years before he could be eligible for parole. Attorney at law Garika Makiani from the law firm Knight, Jr. and Samuels argued this week that there was an omission and/or oversight by the appellate court to give full credit to the applicant for the time he spent on remand pending his trial. She submitted that generally a convicted individual's legal entitlement to be credited for any time spent in custody before trial was a settled principle enshrined in the Constitution. She argued that in the interest of justice and fairness, the applicant was only asking that the court recognize the time already spent to be correctly recorded. The court upheld the submissions and ordered that Gordon would become eligible for parole after serving 23 years, 4 months, and 4 days instead of 27 years. The success of this application reinforces the rights of individuals to their personal liberty, and that even in the face of a conviction, full credit must generally be given to that person for the time they spent in custody, Makiani commented. Gordon, along with Desmond Kennedy, Alton Heath, and Marlon Duncan, all of Greenwich Town addresses, were convicted of the murder of Katrina Webb and Simone Vernon, both 20 years old. 3 women were abducted from a bar at Newport West and taken to a playfield in Greenwich Town, where they were raped by men, including the abductors. The women were shot and dumped into a pit. One of the women managed to crawl out of the pit, and a report was made to the police. The Court of Appeal dismissed the men's appeal against their convictions in December 2012. The bodies of the women were never found, despite searches which included the use of underwater camera technology. Death threats reported as the Maroon election fuss heats up. Controversial leader of the Akampong Maroons, Colonel Richard Curry, has rejected claims that he is behind a push to have Colonel Wallace Sterling replaced by an 18-year-old girl as the leader of the Moortown Maroons. The nasty power struggle has seen death threats being reported to the Portland police, who are now focused on making sure no one is hurt during the vote planned for May 8. On Thursday, Wallace was adamant that an election would not take place on Sunday, as the council he leads did not approve the move. For one colonel to leave from his community to come into another to decide who should be colonel, this is wrong, downright rude, out of order, impertinent, and that nonsense we will not stand, said a livid Wallace. We're not having an election. No election was called. There is none. Corey don't run Moortown, so he and the persons in Moortown who are setting date for an election. We're not having an election. They have proposed the 8th of May, but we're not having any. The council don't call an election. Corey agreed that he has no authority to call an election, but said he was well within his right to throw his support behind a candidate he deems suitable. Let's make it clear, I have no authority in calling an election in no other territory or district than the one I'm in. If there is an election being called, it depends on the people through their council and their members who make a challenge. That's the position I understand. There is a constitution which speaks to how we elect and select. It is our democratic process. I have absolutely no say in the process, he said. I feel it's a challenge that have been put forward. I'm merely an observer giving my support where I can, and that's it, he added. Curry's support for the challenger, Lamora Dillon, is no secret. In a WhatsApp message being circulated, he is listed among her supporters, which are also said to include singer Marco Bujabanton Mary and other influential individuals and groups within the Maroon community. Curry and Mary were among people named in a report Wallace made to the police. Our main focus is that the incumbent has indicated that he feels threatened in some way from persons associated with the colonel of the Accompong Maroons community, Colonel Curry, and he has also indicated that Mark Mary Bujabanton was also in the Moortown space, and there is some amount of fear for the safety of Colonel Sterling, Superintendent of Police in charge of the Portland Division, Kenneth Chin, said at a media briefing on Thursday. Based on our assessment that we have done, we will be applying the necessary resources to the Moortown community before and after the event to ensure the safety of all persons, whether or not there is an election, he added. Chin also made it clear that any attempt to hold an unapproved event on Sunday would be foiled. There is a flyer circulating regarding an entertainment event which is proposed to be held on Sunday, May 8, 2022. As of today, May 5, there is no application received at my office for an entertainment event to play music. The police will ensure that the laws of Jamaica will be enforced in the Moortown community, and we will ensure that no such entertainment event takes place on that date because we have not received an application for any such permit, he said. Justice Minister urging mediation to settle disputes. Jamaicans are being urged to settle disputes and conflicts amicably through the alternative dispute resolution services offered by the Ministry of Justice. This appeal comes from Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck, who said this service and others, such as the restorative justice and mediation, are offered free of cost in most instances but are underutilized. Many serious crimes emerged from simple disputes and disagreements, which could have been easily cleared up if the parties were referred to a restorative justice facilitator, a mediator, or a counselor to assist them in reaching an amicable settlement, he said. The Justice Minister, who was making his contribution to the 2022-2023 sectorial debate in the House of Representatives on Wednesday, May 4, stressed that the country's crime and homicide rate will not be reduced significantly unless citizens can find a lawful, legitimate, and appropriate means to diffuse disagreements and conflicts. Chuck pointed out that people can access the ministry's alternative dispute resolution services through the restorative justice centers and the victim services division offices that have been established in every parish. There are also the child diversion offices, and very soon mediation centers will be established in several parishes. He noted that the practice of restorative justice was introduced in Jamaica in 2012 but has only gained momentum over the past 3 to 4 years. However, it has so far played an effective role in criminal and family court matters, where the parties have been referred to restorative justice facilitators. The success rate is in excess of 90%, he said, and this is normally achieved with the support of family and community members. In criminal cases, he said, the matters referred are simple misdemeanors where the parties are well known to each other. Restorative justice has been an important tool in successfully restoring their relationships. The ministry's mission is to get warring families and communities to utilize restorative justice. The emotional benefits have proven to be incalculable when parties in conflict are able to work out their differences. In many cases, the settlements bring hugs, relief, and tears, he said. Turning to mediation, Chuck highlighted that while it is a useful tool to settle disputes and conflicts, it is also not fully utilized. The Justice Ministry is now promoting the use of mediation to help avoid litigation under the ministry's campaign to have more matters in the courts referred to mediation. We know mediation has worked, is working, and can work, and we will be ramping up the promotion of mediation right across the island, he said. The minister argued that if 50% of the cases referred to the court can be settled, it is beneficial to everyone, and therefore we are urging more potential litigants to try use mediation rather than litigate. Mediation is a win-win situation. Trial brings relief to one side but pain and hurt to the other, and the loser frequently feels there is no justice. With mediation, the parties control the process. They can decide what they give and what they take, and frequently both sides are happy and the relationship can be maintained, he said. Citing further successes achieved through mediation, the minister spoke of partnerships with the Dispute Resolution Foundation under a pilot project to deliver mediation services to litigants. At the end of the 4-month period, which ran from December 1, 2021 to May 31, 2022, there was a success rate of 82%. The ministry intends to go beyond mediation in the courts and to urge parties and attorneys to access the services of the DRF or their mediators in the parishes to mediate even before they file a court action, he said. Parties in dispute can visit the justice centers, the Victims Services Offices or DRF, or call toll-free 888-JUSTICE, that is 888-587-8423. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.